If the police gave you some bread, look, go do that. You're gonna put a mask on, you're gonna run around, handle your business and get away. So if you in it for the money, you're gonna try to go spend the money. Cuz was just high and he tripped out.
Now, I did forget to ask you this question going back to losing Nip, and I have to do it because this conversation went viral on our platform, and you're here. I talked to a gentleman who left the LAPD. It was a young brother. He was facing racism in his own camp. You know, he ended up having a racist encounter with the LAPD, and he ended up leaving, and now he's suing them. I asked him the question if, like, you know, just because I'm trying to maybe connect some dots, but at the same time, I wanted to ask the question if he thought the LAPD had anything to do with Nipsey being killed, or if, and he said he wouldn't be surprised if they sent Eric Holder to go do that.
Do you think that there could have been more people involved with Nipsey's death? Maybe even perhaps law enforcement? Do you have any thoughts about that?
I think that there could have been. I've never witnessed any. I've never witnessed any law enforcement officers say that there was something going on or even alluded to it. But there's that possibility. We know a lot of the positive things that he was doing in the community. So there's definitely that possibility that they were that determined to stop what he had going on. That they probably could have sent Eric, what's his last name?
Holder Jr.
to go and do that. And I think also they said that he was an informant for law enforcement, and that was I think that was a part of the issue that he had with Nipsey Hussle.
Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. So we don't know. We don't know what kind of what was going on behind those closed doors. It could have just been that it was a bad day for Eric Holder, and he was mad, or there could have been something deeper behind it.
Any comment on that?
Nah, say for instance the police did that. Ain't you gonna try to get away? So if the police gave you some bread, look, go do that. You're gonna put a mask on, you're gonna run around, handle your business and get away. So if you in it for the money, you're gonna try to go spend the money. Cuz was just high and he tripped out. It has something to do with that CD. He had jumped out earlier, like a day before that, and he asked the homie, like, it's a homie named Felony. He introduced me to Nipsey. That's the nigga that really introduced me and brought Nip to my studio, introduced me to Nip. You know what I mean? He was the first. I had Felony in the studio, and I had seen Nip, but he's the first one that brought Nip to me. You know what I mean? So Felly fell, Eric had jumped out and asked him to check out this disc. Like, man, I got my new disc, did you hear it? And bro was like, nah, I ain't heard it, but he said he had the 2 pistols with him. And he told me, I learned this during the murder trial. He had popped up one day during the murder trial. So he said, man, I felt if I wouldn't have listened to this disc, this nigga was gonna do something to me. So he said, I listened to the disc. So then after all this shit played out, and as I think back, I remember when he was talking to me and Nip, after Nip was like, take care of that shit. He was like, man, y'all heard my diss? And we like, gave the nigga the, huh? Like, nah, we ain't heard that. And then we moved on to the next fan. So it could have had something to do with that disc.
Put a little seed maybe in
the CD that we shined him off like, huh? What this nigga talking about? What the fuck I want to hear your CD for? That, could have been that. Or when he got in the car, the bitch that just took a selfie with Nip, she on the phone with her homegirl. Oh man, that nigga so fine. I got a selfie with this nigga. He's like, you ain't that nigga. And he high. I can go for any of those scenarios, but I can't go that you killed cuz that he called you a snitch. Don't say that. Now you can say, yeah, I went to the car, my pissed me off. I'd have kicked my feet up, say, okay, that makes sense. But you can't tell me something that I heard. You know what I mean? So that was my stand. That's why you're not gonna say that. Don't justify why you did what you did. But bro called me a snitch, so I did what I had to do. No. Bro ain't call you no snitch. Now if you just say, I went to the car and my said Nip was fine, I just lost it. I can understand that. I done lost it over a before. Come on. I can respect that.
Now, this has been a great convo, and kind of in the closing side of it, what have you done to get past the losing of your friend and brother? Like, what have you done behind the scenes in terms of like the work for yourself? Because that's got to be tough, you know? You guys were like, a lot of stuff was moving, and for someone to take someone like that away, that was a general, I would say, you know, like, what have you been doing to get past and try to move on and heal?
Well, really, when he passed, I sat back and I analyzed and I looked around. I was wondering who was gonna step up, who out of Nipsey crew was gonna step up and really, who could fill his shoes. You know what I mean? And I was like, well, they waiting on me to fill his shoes. I can't fill bro's shoes. Not in no music. I can't out rap this nigga. You feel me? But I got a lot to say. I got a lot of experiences. So when it came down to it, I said, I got to step up and I got to keep the message alive, you know. He took a little bit of what I gave him and he took it far. So it's time for me to take it just a little farther, you know what I mean? So he took a little seed that I planted and he did a great job at it. He took it to heights that I never expected, you know what I mean? I told him he was gonna be great. I told him he was gonna be big. I told him all of that, but I didn't realize that he was gonna be that big, you know what I mean? And I could imagine if he'd have lived longer. You know, I'm in the Pac generation. We never thought it'd be another Tupac. Like Tupac was the hardest nigga around.
Right, so you can easily see that. Yeah.
Yeah, so for me to run across Nip and he was the Pac of this generation, which he is, you know what I mean? So that, I witnessed Snoop Dogg, I witnessed Pac, and for me to have my own little junior Pac, my you know, they got their stars right next to each other, come on. You know what I mean? You can't tell me dreams don't come true. You know, when I came home from prison, everybody thought I was dreaming. You know what I mean? But, you know, through Nip, it wasn't no dream. It wasn't no dream, because I could show you through Nip, I wasn't dreaming. It was real. They should have took me serious off the top, you know what I mean? But it was real.
Yeah, you kind of mentioned something, and I got one more question after this. You mentioned, like, things where Nipsey was working on. What does that look like? What does Nipsey look like today? What do you think would be going on right now if he was still with us?
Oh, man. Making music, going around the world, inspiring people, doing this podcast, you know what I mean? He would continue to inspire. He would have, man, when bro was, man, he had the whole hood on point. He had us right. And for this little side buster to come through and do what he did, you know, a nigga that ain't really, you know, man, for them years that Cuz was gone in prison or whatever he did to pop up and up the program, he didn't get a chance to witness how the hood was functioning. We was out there functioning. When Nip pulled up, man, the whole hood pulled up, man. Like I said, niggas that was beefing, we'd be out there with Bloods, Crips, everybody. But we gonna support Nip. I'll be on stage, I say, Nip, man, look at all them red rags out there, bro. Look at that shit. I look around and say, is these niggas right here gonna fight? I'm looking at some of these, I had skinny jeans on. I'm like, nigga, what the f is this nigga do? This nigga know how to squabble. He got on skinny jeans and spiked boots. I'm sitting there come home from prison like, nigga, is this nigga hood? Oh yeah, that nigga good. All right. He said, I wasn't for sure, you know what I mean? It took some convincing for me coming home from prison, and I looked at the squad that was on stage and I was like, man, look at all this red out here. But Nip had love from all sides, you know what I mean? In the campaign, like, I didn't think Bloods and Crips would be able to really like get along. You know, we had to get along in jail when we were up against the wall, but to see him in the game do what they had to do, it gave me hope. So I'm gonna still continue with that. You know what I mean? I'm still trying to unite us as a people. We don't want these colors to break us up.